Alrighty, boys and girls, now it's time for my favorite topic of all, KSI versus Logan Paul, or just YouTubers in general. So, I personally think the KSI versus Logan Paul matchup is going to be freaking awesome. I don't know about you guys, I feel like it's going to be one of the biggest entertainment spectacles of all time.
I mean, I watched
finding it so hard to take you seriously right now.
Come on now, listen. I'm a person who enjoys his YouTube quite a fair bit, and I feel like that's the sort of
Fitbit.
Dude, that's the kind of entertainment that people live for right now.
I agreed with Omar until I saw the second conference.
The first conference was the worst one.
No, I want that. The second conference just made me feel like, okay, Logan should get his,
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, granted, yes. No, I agree with you. But here's the thing. There's some controversy surrounding the KSI versus Logan Paul fight. Because a lot of people think that traditional media is taking advantage and, boxing is taking advantage of these YouTubers coming into their world as well. What do you guys think? Do you think that's the case?
I mean, I think, honestly, so first off, I just don't get how everyone started riding this boxing train. I mean, I remember in the beginning being KSI and his brother and the Logan Paul, Jake Paul brothers, whatever, the Low Gang. I don't know what they call themselves.
Be a Maverick, baby.
Mavericks, yes. I remember it starting off there.
Please do not.
And then now I see like FouseyTube getting into boxing matches, and it's crazy. I mean, I get it. That's social media. Everyone's got to ride the wave. The trend right now is boxing. I remember when it used to be diss tracks and everyone was dropping a diss track, and apparently everyone had a recording studio and a producer on speed dial.
Oh yeah, and the views that they were pulling in was insane.
Yeah, and I think that's the only reason this stuff is relevant right now. As content creators, I mean, I used to be a big fan of KSI back in the old FIFA funny days, and I can't say I care as much right now. I get why it's such a spectacle though. Obviously their audience is super young and they're bringing in numbers that the boxing industry itself can't even bring on its own. So I feel like it's really, there's a shift. It's a complete shift in the whole boxing scene where it's you don't need to be a world champion anymore to bring in these numbers and to sell out all these arenas. And that's why I feel like there's a lot of hype going on behind it, and that's why it's a huge trending thing. Whereas if you asked me a few years ago, or even if I asked you, Terry, a few years ago, what if I told you KSI and Logan Paul would go head-to-head in a boxing match? You'd be like...
I'd be like, that's wild.
Why? Why are they
No, but the thing is, I would still want to watch it. Though.
Because it's entertainment, because it's two different individuals with two different fan bases. One representing the UK, one representing the US. Completely different personalities. It's literally, when you think about collaborations between social media influencers and all these content creators, this is possibly one of the largest of all time. And I think that's why it's such a big deal. But in terms of it being a sporting event or something like that, I don't think it really deserves the hype.
I think it's fair for the boxing industry to take advantage of it. I'll tell you why. Because the YouTubers themselves are taking advantage of the boxing industry. Prior to this match, there was no respect for weight. There was no respect for how to do the boxing itself. People were wearing helmets. They were not wearing the right gloves.
Head guards.
Huh? Head guards.
It's helmets.
Imagine.
I don't watch boxing.
Imagine helmets.
We need to update them to the newest version.
Stop being mean to me. Anyways, so
he's really trying to get this Frank as an AI.
Yeah, I know. He loves
joke.
it.
He's
He loves it.
Embedded, yeah.
So basically, they did not I'm not gonna say they did not respect it, but they didn't do the whole thing properly as it is. You didn't go through proper training. You didn't dedicate your whole life to it. You come and bring in a whole area, taking an arena with a proper referee and everything, and you have it's literally, it looks like a boxing match without the essentials being correct. So if they're not going to be fair to the boxing match, the boxing industry itself, I think it's fine if the boxing industry just capitalizes on them and make their bank. Everyone's trying to make their money.
I don't feel like that's being unfair to them. Yeah, sure, they're bending the rules and stuff, but they're not sort of ripping off anything from the boxing
you should
industry,
accept
right?
if the boxing industry capitalizes on them.
Yeah, yeah, but at the same time, I feel the thing is, they're not just capitalizing on them. They're sort of putting them in this cage and then just like poking them like dance monkey dance, and then they're just like getting all the money and everything for themselves, and then they're banning like all the other YouTube channels from for example broadcasting their press conferences and whatnot. So I feel like in comparison, like what the boxing industry does to them is a bit more unfair, especially considering stuff such as like how Omar mentioned that you would have to bring like the world champions weren't bringing in the same amount of numbers of viewers, right? So right now, I think they're going to have the world champion performing as an underdog for KSI and Logan Paul, and that's like a huge deal, right? I mean, it should be a huge deal because you have the world championship of boxing, and he's being an underdog to supposed like nobodies from YouTube. So you know, I feel like that it is sort of unfair more towards the YouTuber side.
Is it called an underdog?
You're like-
Undercut. What was it?
I think underdog.
Undercard. There you go.
Undercard. So I think, like in terms, first of all, of what you guys are talking about, I think the furore from YouTube, the reason why everyone's getting so upset is because of what Shayan said. They're taking all of the footage and they keep copy striking people on YouTube.
Yeah.
They keep demonetizing people. They keep taking down videos. And let's be honest, this is a YouTube event because the main match, the main attraction is Logan Paul versus KSI. You're not seeing people advertise the heavyweight boxer. You're not seeing people advertise this, that, on the other. You're seeing people advertise KSI versus Logan Paul. And the only reason why this is a thing is because in the first match, it was all YouTubers. It was every single person who was fighting was a YouTuber. And yes, granted, I don't think you can say that they made fun of the sport or they debased the sport, but I think they shone a light on the sport as well, right? Because no one would have gotten angry if a bunch of YouTubers decided to have a charity match. You know?
They did.
And they did as well. No one got mad. You didn't
Exactly.
hear, I don't know, Manchester United or Liverpool go, oh, no, you can't do this. That's not right. You're making a mockery of the sport. No, okay, they're not professionals. They're amateurs. And it's the same thing with the YouTube boxing.
I want to add on a side note to what you said. Like, honestly, the whole banning and censoring and copywriting stuff, it's ridiculous because Logan Paul is one of the two people participating in the boxing match, and his own channel was copyrighted from live casting the press
KSI.
conference.
It's KSI.
Was it KSI?
Yeah.
Well, one of them got copyrighted,
Yeah.
and they're
KSI
part
got
of the
copies,
whole thing.
right.
So how do you tell the person who's participating in the match you're not allowed to sort of like live broadcast your own thing? So it doesn't make sense to me at all.
Nah, I feel like it's just the boxing industry is trying to really... It's really just bringing everything wrong with the sport into the YouTube event. Where it's like, if you think about it, Logan Paul and KSI could literally take off the gloves and fight in like a random
lot,
ring
yeah.
or something like that, and they won't even put it under boxing, and it would still rack in the same numbers. They could sell out whatever arena they want under whatever sport that they want. Like you said, even if it was a charity event, like a football game or something like that, they would still bring in the same numbers. So I feel like the people in charge that are kind of taking that angle of the boxing industry are really trying to milk this event as much as possible. So, not only are they getting ticket sales, they're getting pay-per-view, they're trying to like have full coverage of the event exclusively for them so that no one else does reaction videos or no one else. I mean, like, believe it or not, it's going to be shocking for them, but this stuff will still get pirated on Twitch.
Oh, 100%.
You'll
But-
still see the stuff online, it's
Granted. It makes sense, but at the same time, playing devil's advocate a little bit here, the last event that the YouTubers held, the last boxing event, almost half the people who watched that match watched it illegally on Twitch, right?
Yeah.
It was pirated, you could
Yeah.
say, right? So to a certain point, I get them limiting the exposure of the fight. Granted, maybe not the press conference, because that's kind of ridiculous. Because most of the marketing that comes for these fights come from YouTubers themselves. And if YouTubers aren't going to make any money of the videos they're recording, they won't record any videos about the match. But having said that, again, since there is a match, YouTubers will get views regardless. So I think it's a give and take situation with this. I think a lot of people may be over exaggerating how bad it is. Like, it is bad, but I don't think it's to the point where people should be getting like crazy mad.
I think we should just respect both of their hustle to a point. Fine, let this match pass. If this happens more than once, then I think it becomes a bigger issue.
Then Frank gets really mad at you.
I get really
Yes,
mad.
Frank starts talking.
Activate
I get
kill
really
mode.
mad.
But honestly, I'm super curious. What do you think is gonna be the next trend after boxing? What
I see. That's a tough one,
That's
is it
spicy.
gonna be swimming? Is it gonna be cricket? I don't even know.
YouTube football matches.
That's already a thing. It
That's already a
happened
thing.
before.
What about what about
F2 freestylers got in on it.
No,
Sideman played.
Logan Paul and KSI.
Yeah, no, Sideman played.
Maybe Boston.
KSI played. I think Deji was in one
I
of
think
those.
I'm too old.
Yeah, you're way too.
what
Yeah,
about
you don't
MMA?
watch
Have they
enough
done
YouTube.
MMA or anything like that? Or what about WWE?
What?
Maybe that could be a way to bring WWE.
WWE is mainstream. It's just media. It's just like
Yeah,
fit to the
yeah,
YouTube.
but doing with it,
Yo, imagine
YouTubers,
John Cena versus KSI.
Oh my god, I would watch that.
Somehow,
I would watch
somehow
that.
KSI wins somehow, or
Somehow.
to draw. To draw.
Maybe.
Is there a draw in WWE?
Are you see it?
Somehow.
Everything is possible.
Oh yeah. But I don't think we're gonna agree or disagree on too much on this topic itself. So we want you guys to tell us what you think. Who do you think is gonna win the KSI versus Logan Paul match? Do you think it's right that that DAZN, Matchroom Boxing, and Sky Sports are censoring all these YouTubers? Do you think it's okay, or is it just one of those things that people have to deal with eventually? Tell us what you think. Comment, subscribe, and give us your feedback. And please give us some feedback in the comments so we can make this even better than it already is. Alrighty, guys. Take care then with the Third Culture Kidz. Have a good one.